And that really brings us to the phases of the internet. Web 1.0 is the one that we know. We came from client-server, desktops, and what have you, and we simply digitized and connected the previous era. Web 2.0 is where we started to recognize the network effect, the cloud. We started to collaborate with each other. Web 3.0 is where we start to take the higher bandwidth and the rich media, and that last 200 feet connectivity to the home. And then we break our shackles and we go into mobile. And we start to think about things like telepresence and what that means for networking. So in 1.0, we had to figure out, okay, how do I use it without getting into trouble and all that sort of thing. OpenText wrote a lot of the books in this fundamental area about ECM. The fundamental thing that we did is we took the complexity of all the corporate information from the 1.0 world and made it into a Google, if you will, inside the firewall. And we started to manage all that information. And that really led OpenText for a good part of the past decade. 2.0 is different. Turkey chatting with a bull. I would love to be able to get to the top of that tree, side the turkey, but I haven't got the energy. Well, why don't you nibble on some of my droppings with a ball? They're packed with nutrients. The turkey pecked at a lump of dung and found that it actually gave him enough strength to reach the first branch of the tree. The next day, after eating some more dung, he reached the second branch. Finally, on a fourth night, there he was, probably perched atop the tree. Soon, he was spotted by a farmer who promptly shot the turkey out of the tree. And the management lesson is, bullshit might get you to the top, but it won't keep you there. and so that is a great challenge for a company like OpenText. So here's OpenText. It has done very well. It had talked about enterprise content management, etc. And then along came the cloud. And if OpenText didn't respond to it, it wasn't going to be at the top anymore. And the single biggest thing that we heard was make all this Web 2.0 stuff safe to use. So we had to reinvent the company again. We had to go back and look at all these new content types that were being created. We were thinking, now this is for 15-year-olds. You know, what does corporate America have anything to do with that? Big mistake. So what we did was we took that same trusted repository approach that we had before, and now we took all the 1.0, we did the same thing, except now for 2.0 content types. So we had to reinvent our company all over again. We had blogs and wikis and full times and what have you. And of course, what that then led to was all kinds of communities, which then led to all kinds of networks. And in my day, when we first started, we used to call this intranets, intranets, and extranets. Now, generally we call them social marketplaces and social workplaces. So inside the firewall, outside the firewall. And the tricky part to this is how do you go between the two? Because that's where you get in a lot of trouble. So for example, you're in a workplace and you're working on a new product launch, it's secret and all that stuff. And then on the day it's launched, that information is out into the marketplace. It's not secret anymore. But within that folder, there's a whole bunch of stuff that still has to stay secret. So, you know, corporate plans, whatever it is, and only parts of it go public. And when you're in a log sphere, that gets pretty loud. How do you figure out what goes public, what doesn't? That is a problem that, in my industry, we'll be working on at least for the next decade. It's a very, very difficult problem.